Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Invin. Today I am bringing you guys a guide for attributes and attribute perks in New World. Now this is going to be a fairly basic guide. I'm going to go over all of the attributes, what each of them do to start off with for any of you guys that are very new to the game or haven't played it at all yet. And then I'm going to go over the attribute perks, which ones you want to be leveling kind of based off which weapons. And it is going to be a fairly basic guide. So any of you expert players, it's probably not the video for you. It's just going to be going generally over the attributes. So unless you want to kind of refresh yourself or relearn some of the stuff there, if you know it already, you kind of know it, but it's going to go over all of the basics so that any of you guys that haven't played as much of New World yet, haven't managed to get hands-on with all of the skills, or you just want to get a recap or a learn about what the attributes are about in this game, then this video is going to be perfect for you, as I'm going to break them down and go over each of them individually. Now, hopefully you guys do go on to enjoy this video, and let's jump straight into it here. So, as you guys can see on the screen, we've got Strength, Dexterity, Intelligence, Focus, and Constitution. All of these are the attributes that you have within the game, and each of them affect different things. Certain weapons scale off each stat, so for example the Great Axe is solely off strength, whereas the hatchet is strength and then dexterity. Things like the bow is just dexterity, fire staff for intelligence, life staff for focus, and then constitution is just hit points. So basically strength is for attacking and it gives you base melee damage on weapons that scale from it. Dexterity is another one for attacking and will scale certain weapons, but it also gives you increased crit chance as you go up, whereas the strength one gives you 5% more damage with light attacks, for example, on the first perk there, and we'll go over these in more detail in just a moment. Intelligence is for your casters, so your mages using the fire staff, ice gauntlet, and any future magic weapons that are added, they scale off intelligence, and that increases their damage. Focus is for life staff users, it increases your mana size pool, and also increases the usefulness and effectiveness of the life staff. And finally, constitution is what most of your tanks are going to be fully speccing into, and this is where you're going to get all of your HP pool from. So a lot of DPS people ignore this one. It's a bad decision in New World. You want to at least have some points into constitution if you're going to play DPS as well. I found that out the hard way during the alpha, and during the beta I specced into constitution a lot more, and it worked out a ton better. So trust me on that one. Pretty much every character wants to have at least some constitution points in there, but I'm going to go over how you break these down, what each of the perks do, and also as you can see on the side here, you get 190 points. That is if you get to level 60. Now if you then get perfect gear, which is giving you all of the stat boosts for the specific thing that you're speccing into, for example if you are a healer, that would be plus 20 to focus on each of those, and then any other extra pieces going into other stats, and that gives you 475 total, which means once you've got the highest level gear in the game with extra spec points coming from that, you are going to be able to get up to that amount of points, which is pretty good because it means you're going to be able to max out nearly almost 2 of these skills absolutely fully, because 250 is the cap for these. So we're going to go over these in detail. I'm going to show you guys the perks that they do and which ones I would recommend for each build here. So starting off with the base 190 here. Until you get to max level, you're pretty much going to want to put all of your base points that come from leveling up into the actual skills that you want to level up and get the perks for, because generally the end game gear is good and you're going to be able to then boost the other stats that you want to through that, but until you actually get to it, most of your points are going to come from leveling up. So for example, let's take strength here. Once we get to level 50 in strength, if we take out 5 there, you can see that each point is at the 50 point threshold here. So the first perk gives us plus 5% to melee damage with light attacks and plus 10% mining speed. So again, if you're going to be gathering, it's a really good one if you're going for mining. Then level 100 gives you plus 10% damage to melee weapon heavy attacks and a plus 20% mining encumbrance. This is melee, don't forget, it's same with the light one as well. And then at 150 points, we've got plus 50 stamina damage from melee weapon and light attacks and heavy attacks, so you do stamina damage to the enemy, and minus 10% decrease in weight of mind and mining items there. Then that would be as far as you could spec there, so I'm going to click perfect gear here just to get us up to this next point here. And then when we get to level 200 here, we've got plus 10% damage to stunned, slowed or rooted enemies, and plus another 10% mining speed, giving you total 20% plus. Then the level 250 perk is stamina regen continues while performing light attacks and heavy attacks with a melee weapon, which is really good, and plus 10% yield increase when mining. And then finally the cap here, which is 300 points, or the soft cap I should say, because you can go over this but you won't actually, as you can see, get any benefits from doing that, but other than just actually an increase to your weapon damage, right? So you get final perk here, which is light and heavy attacks with melee weapons gain grit, 25% chance to mine an ore with a single swing as well. So that is all of your strength buffs there. On the dexterity attribute then, your first perk at level 50 is going to be a plus 5% chance to critical hit and a plus 10 to skinning speed. Level 100 you're going to get plus 5 thrust damage and 20% haste for 3 seconds after skinning. Level 150, you're going to get a dodging cost is 10 less stamina and a minus 10% decrease in the weight of skinned items. Level 200, you're going to have a plus 10% bonus backstab and headshot damage and a plus 10% skinning speed, again giving it plus 20. Level 250 is going to be a plus 10% bonus critical hit damage on stunned, slowed or rooted enemies and a plus 10% yield increase when skinning. And finally, at level 300 for the soft cap there, you're going to get a guaranteed critical hit after a dodge roll, and ammo has a 15% chance of being returned to you. So again, if you're going to be a bow user, absolutely excellent to get to that top level there, and it's going to require 300 points. Going then into the intelligence tree, we actually get plus 10% damage to light and heavy magic attacks at level 50, along with 10% harvest speed. At level 100, we get plus 10% critical hit damage and a 5% chance for 1 Azoth when harvesting. At level 150, we get a plus 15% to elemental damage and a minus 10% decrease in weight of harvested items. At level 200, we get a plus 10 mana after a dodge and a plus 10% to harvesting speed. Level 250, we get a plus 30% duration of DOT or damage over time spells and a plus 10% to yield when harvesting. Really, really good for any of those damage over time caster users. Very nice ability there. And the soft cap again at level 300, your final perk would be plus 30% damage on first hit of full health targets and a minus 10% reduction in Azoth travel costs, meaning that you can fast travel for a cheaper price, which is a really nice little bonus there. Looking at focus here then, we get a plus 10% mana regen rate and a plus 10% fishing line tension at level 50. At level 100 then we get a plus 20 to the mana pool and a plus 10% yield when salvaging. Level 150 we get a plus 20% healing output, which is really, really pivotal for healers, and a minus 10% decrease in the weight of fishing items if you're going to be doing fishing. Level 200 gives you a plus 20% duration on casting buffs, again, really, really good for healers, and a plus 10% fishing line tension, again, on that. Level 250 gives you a plus 30 mana on any self or group kill, which is really, really good, again, for those expeditions particularly, and for PvP, you're going to be really, really useful having that as a healer, and it also gives you a plus 10% increase to caught fish size, which, if you're into fishing, again, really good. And then finally, the soft cap here, level 300 into focus would get you, when your mana hits 0, gain 200% mana regen for 10 seconds, and that is on a 60-second or 1-minute cooldown. And you also get a minus 10% cooldown reduction to in fast travel. So if you want to get back to your inn quicker, minus 10% off that 60 minutes is going to be 6 minutes quicker, meaning that you can do this every 54 minutes instead of every 60, which is pretty good. So it gives you a little bit of a quicker one there as well. Finally, looking at constitution down the bottom here then. So firstly, at level 50, you get all healing consumables last for 20% longer, which is really nice, and a plus 10% to login speed. So again, if you're going to be doing login, constitution is going to be your focus there for any of you gatherers. We've then got a level 100, increase max health by 10% of your physical armor, and a minus 10% reduction on durability loss for tools, which is really useful. And then we've got minus 10% to crit damage taken and a minus 10% to decrease in weight of login items at level 150. Now, crit damage taken minus 10% is going to be very, very good when you're tanking, and PvP and in PvE is going to be just one of the most pivotal things for a tank to have. So you're going to want to get to level 150 constitution as soon as possible, because that could be the difference between you getting one shot down to a quarter HP or just down to half. So it's very, very useful there. Then we've got level 200, which gives you a plus 20% increase to armor and 10% login speed. Really good. Again, the armor is going to be vital, so when you get up to these high levels, it's going to be very, very nice to have. Then you can see here at level 250, we get a minus 80% damage deduction when at full health, which is really nice, which means that first shot is going to be a very, very minimized damage one. And if you've got a healer with you in an expedition, the boss is only going to do a lot less damage when they hit you once you've been healed back up to full, which could be happening quite often. So it's going to be a really, really good thing for tanking in the long term. And you also get a plus 10% yield to login. And then finally, at soft cap level 300 here, you get a plus 20% duration of stun, slow, and root spells. So if you're tanking, maybe with a warhammer, or you've got the sword and shield and you're going for those taunt effects, they're going to be a lot better there, applied plus 20%, which is actually a pretty big percentage. And then finally, you get a plus 25% chance to chop a tree down in a single swing. So basically, a quarter of the time, you're going to be chopping a full tree and getting all of those mats in just one swing, which is really, really nice. Similar to the strength and the mining one there, so very, very good options. Now, in terms of my build, what I was using in the beta that worked really, really well is I went basically if we look at this without perfect gear, so we've got all of these skills here, I'm going to put basically 150 in here, and then we're going to do 50 into Constitution. Now, obviously, I had some gear as well, but roughly I was going 3 to 1 on Strength to Constitution there, and I was using Hatchet and Great Axe. Now, Great Axe solely scales off Strength, so that worked really, really well. Hatchet is mainly off Strength, so a 0.9% of all your points in Strength goes to the Hatchet, and a 0.65 of all Dexterity goes to the Hatchet. So, some of the gear I had, I chose Dex pieces, so I got up to around 50 points in that as well, which also gave me the plus 5% chance to critical hit, which was really nice, especially with the Great Axe and the perks you get there. But also it gave me a little damage boost to the Hatchet, as well as obviously having all of these perks here. So I had the damage to melee light attacks plus 5%, damage to melee heavy attacks plus 10%, and also a plus 50 stamina damage from melee weapons and light and heavy attacks, which is really, really good. And then in Constitution down here, we've got all healing consumables last 20% longer, and it was up to about 8,500 health, which was pretty good for a level 45, so it was really worth using. When I actually got some of my gear on, I think I ended up going up to about 100, just over into Constitution. We got to around 200 in Strength. We had a few points in Dex, like I said there, and then we ended up just putting the rest basically into Strength. If I had perfect gear, this is probably the build I would go with right here. So if I was going to go perfect gear, then I'd probably personally go for this build as a DPS, because this gives us all of the ones that I had before on the strength tree, plus 10% to stunned, slowed or rooted enemies damage there, which is really, really good. Stamina regen continues while performing light and heavy attacks, which is really, really good. And we also gain grit when we're attacking with light and heavy attacks with a melee weapon. We've got the critical hit chance from Dexterity, but if I wanted to drop this back by 10 points, lose out on that perk, it is only 5%, and you can get more off of your passive skill trees on certain weapons. Bump that up to 150 in Constitution, which would also give us the minus 10% crit damage taken, which could be really, really useful. And we definitely want the second one here, which is increase max health by 10% of your physical armor, because if armor stays the same as it worked in the beta, you can obviously equip 4 pieces of heavy and 1 medium to actually still be in the medium category there, or 4 pieces of medium, 1 light to be in the light, etc. And this will work really, really well. And basically overall, you're going to be very much high damage, decent bit of tankiness, so you're not going to get one shot, and you're also going to have a little bit of scaling there. But that was for my hatchet use, but if you're just going for strength only weapons, you could even bump this all the way down, not even bother with that, and just smack them all into strength. So obviously you've gone over soft cap, but you're going to be getting a lot of damage buff from those extra 30 points as well. So it's entirely up to you what you want to do there. You can see on the left hand side here, all of the bonuses that I've got are listed here, but it's just the perks that are in these trees that I've shown you guys. And basically what you want to be focusing on is whichever attribute your main weapon scales off and secondary weapon scales off, you want to try and get the perks up for that and the increase on the attribute points, as I said, even when you do go over soft cap. So for example, even if I was only on 40 points for strength, it's still going to increase my weapon damage a lot more than having 20 in strength and 20 in intelligence if I'm using the Great Axe, because the Great Axe doesn't use intelligence at all. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this basic guide to how attributes work, what the attribute perks actually are, and kind of a visualization on how you could build certain things in the game if you did want to spec out into certain items and certain weapons going along, which I'm sure you guys will find out as you play the game. And obviously you can respec at any point as well for a certain cost, so you can try out different builds and different specs into all of these perks. If you have enjoyed today's video and found it useful, please do leave me a like on the video down below. If you are new to the channel, make sure you drop a subscribe with notification bells on. We are uploading daily new world content, so we'd love to have you here as part of the community. If you want to head over and join the Discord, we've got a bunch of people in there now. It's really, really cool to see all of you guys joining. There'll be a link for that in the description and in the comments below, so you can head over and join in with us there if you would like to. And other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching. Take care and peace.